This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to the dawn. Welcome here to Eco Training Province, where it is a lovely, lovely temperature up here on the rock. It is not only myself out and about. We will have Tristan and Lauren joining us in Djuma, Marcus out at Ngala, Busani in Phinda. And on that note, we welcome you all on board our live African safari. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are sitting here on top of leopard or something like that, Koppie, waiting for the sun to rise. And we welcome you to Eco Training Province. My name is Steve, joined by Paul on camera, and we are going to be doing some clip springer moves this morning, checking out some rocky outcrops. It is 11 degrees Celsius. It is a fair bit warmer than it was yesterday. But don't forget, this is a live interactive safari. If you have any questions or comments, please do send them through using the hashtag WildEarth. Throw them in on the YouTube chat stream. Alternatively, you can go to the website. We have a buffalo over there, Mbo. We saw him on the way up. We see him there, just at the gap. We saw his dung on our way up here. He's a grumpy old bull. Some very fresh dung. And I'm quite happy we didn't see him a moment ago. He's missing a tail, half of his tail. Those old Dugger boys are notoriously grumpy. And they're not as easily discovered because, they don't have the same sort of entourage of oxpeckers as a group of buffalo would have. And so not only do we surprise them, we surprise ourselves, and you can end up being in a much closer contact with a big bull like that, which invariably means you're in a much sort of more precarious position due to the distances. But, another one is coming behind him. Now there's two. There's three of them following now. Okay, so 3 bulls, all walking through the thickets there. And a 4th one on its way. So, Dugger boys in groups. Invariably, they were once dominant bulls in a herd and eventually lost their physicality and maybe even just their interest in competing. A 5th one is on its way. That's a very nice little group of buffalo that are coming. All bulls so far that I can see. And so eventually they leave or depart the herd as a group. And the term Dugger boys, referring to the fact that they're often covered in mud. These fellows don't seem to have any mud. Very nice surprise, everybody. Well, we were kind of anticipating seeing one on the hill here, because on our walk up here, we saw very fresh dung. You know, the dung was still greenish, sort of golden grass color. Hadn't even started to sort of oxidize. And so when these fellows leave the herd, they go off in these little bands of old retirement bulls, and they are the ones that lions pick off one by one slowly. Although lions obviously do hunt the herds, these fellows are normally much more easily isolated. And so a group of 15 bulls that know each other quite well might go into this retirement stage. And then one by one they get removed until there's only one left. And those are often very cantankerous fellows. Okay, well, it seems like a wonderful day today in the Lowveld. Let's go check the weather forecast.
Beautiful morning indeed. About 12 degrees Celsius, which is 54 degrees Fahrenheit at andBeyond. Ngala. A very good morning and a warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm Marcus, and of course I've got Odi on camera. There goes Odi's thumb. So this morning we are just bumbling about, and we just heard lions calling. It sounded like it's coming from the central part of the reserve, so that's probably will be our starting point. That's the direction that we headed to go make our own investigations. Of course, that having been mentioned, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that we will find these animals, but at least we've got a clue on where in the reserve to look for these animals. So yeah, like I mentioned, it looks like it's a beautiful day. I think it's gonna be a beautiful one, just 1 degree warmer than it was yesterday. Not warm enough for me, that I must say, but still I am grateful to be out and about. No, I think when it comes to weather and all these bushes, the pros outweighs the cons, so it is always a beautiful thing to be out. And much as we had those lions vocalizing, there is a good chance it is still cool hours of the morning that they might be on the move, depending on what might have happened last night. You know, they might be just sneaking in that last bit of hunting before they rest for the day. So fingers crossed we catch up with them while they are still on the move, because it's always a great thing to watch when you are following these lions and they are busy hunting. Unlike maybe when you get to them and they're not doing anything other than resting, which is what these lions will do for a vast majority of the day.
Welcome to the dawn. Welcome to the sunrise here in the morning. What a glorious day. It is unfolding.
welcome back to andBeyond Ngala, everyone. So, well, I did give a brief about our plan for this morning, which we based that on the lions vocalizing. And of course, behind us, I see the sun is coming up. Beautiful colors indeed. Just that we are in a bit of a tricky situation. We won't be able to share it with our viewers. Because for where we are, it's quite thick. But I just hope our viewers are as excited as I am about this morning. I'm just hoping that I find these lions that we had calling. Because it has been a while since we last saw them. And I'm just hoping that maybe they will be successful with something that they might be feeding on, so that we can get a bit of action from them. However, even if they haven't killed anything, just catching up with the Birmingham Pride, I'm sure it is exciting for the viewers as it is exciting for us on the ground. We are still slowly making our way towards the central part where the sound came from. I'm just hoping that as we are heading that side, they will call again so that we will be able to know exactly where in the central part the sound was coming from. So I take it maybe one or even both the Ross brothers will be with that pride now that they are calling, especially at this time of the day. Because that's the time when maybe the Ross brothers, after patrolling their territory. Yeah, so while we are still on this quest, we are going to send you over to Djuma, where Tristan would like to say good morning to the viewers.
Well, good luck, Marcus. Hopefully you find what you're looking for and those Ross males make an appearance. We've briefly been halted in our search for a male leopard. I think it's a male leopard, given that we heard lots of sawing and there was Impala's alarm calling just now, so we're going to try and see if we can find tracks. But we managed to find a martial eagle, which is very, very cool. But before we get into that, my name's Tristan. Camera. I've got BK, which is always a treat to have BK on board. Always thoroughly enjoy my time with him. But anyway, we're with this martial eagle, which is a really nice surprise because I haven't seen a martial in this area in a long time. We were at one point seeing a young, immature bird that was hanging around this western side, and that was around 2017, 2018 we used to see it. And it makes me wonder if maybe, just maybe, this isn't that same bird that's just now in an adult form. It's very, very possible that it could be. I always forget how large these guys are. It kind of flew over us and landed in this dead tree, and their wingspan and their just general bulk is impressive to say the least. Now, this bird will obviously have spent the night just resting, and now that sun's coming up, this is a time when they start looking for prey items. And what they'll be after, mostly, these guys, is things like francolins and guinea fowl. So this martial eagle is a lot like Marips in that regard, as a tormentor of guinea fowl. But what they also like to go after is any form of small antelope. So Steenbok, duiker, nowadays not so much impalas because the impala lambs are too big, but in impala lambing season they'll target them. And then as it warms up, the other thing that they like to target is monitor lizards. So they have quite a diet, these guys, and they're not afraid of big animals when they're hunting. I've seen them even take, things like genets as well. There's been recorded cases of civets, wild dog puppies, leopard cubs, so they're pretty ferocious birds, and with their sort of bulk and their size, it allows them to be able to overpower those small little antelope as well as even some of those young cats and predators.
it always fascinates me that you can get a bird that is able to do that. I mean, you look at something like a duik or a steenbok. For a leopard, that's a bit of energy that it takes. It's not the easiest thing to catch. And then, they still kind of have to hoist it, and it's still effort to get a kind of fully grown steenbok up there. But these guys, I've actually seen one of them kill a steenbok in real life. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. It was actually on Chitwa, and we were coming back to camp, and we had a good morning, and there's a little steenbok next to the road, and kind of stopped, and the steenbok just stared at us and then started feeding, and out of nowhere there was this sound that came from the sky, which was like this whooshing sound, and down plummeted this martial eagle, and it smashed straight into the steenbok, and hit it between the head and the tail with those talons, and the force that it actually hit the steenbok with, which I know this is a bit macabre in describing it, but it actually buckled the steenbok to the point where its stomach touched the ground and its back legs folded upwards, and its head. And so obviously what it did is just snap the spine with that force, and then from there it picked it up and carried it, which again is amazing to me because it actually flew with it into a marula tree nearby and basically hoisted the steenbok and sat there feeding on it. And it was still there in the afternoon feeding, and then it abandoned it late that afternoon. And funny enough, Thandi was the one that actually came and took it eventually. Back in the day, but crazy sighting to see, and it just sort of showed how strong these guys are and how ruthless they can be. It's an incredible display of strength that they showed, or that bird showed, and many others since. I've seen carcasses in a tree from them before as well. Hedy, you're asking how big these guys can get. So in terms of height, so from tail tip to kind of head tip with that little crest, they get about 90 centimeters, so just short of a meter. And then in terms of their wingspan, their wings can be as big as 2.4 meters. So what's that in feet? It's like 8 feet, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 9 feet, somewhere there. And then, weight-wise, these birds are heavy. They can get, I think that's, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 6 kilograms, somewhere there, which for a bird is heavy. Birds are light by design so that they can fly. So 6 kilograms in a bird is a heavy set animal. But I think it's around 6 kilograms. So what's that in pounds? Like close to 12 pounds, 13 pounds. It's not a small bird at all. All right, we're going to leave our martial eagle to itself. It's busy admiring the sunrise. I'm sure it will go off on a little hunt soon. In the meantime, we're going to go and try and see if we can get onto those male leopard tracks. We'll find out if it is a male that was calling and where it went. And in the meantime, we're going to send you off to Lauren.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the other half of the Djuma team. I have to say I'm very jealous of Tristan's sighting. I love martial eagles. We don't get to see them too often out here. We see them, but not terribly often. And I do love a good raptor sighting. My name is Lauren, and I do have Davi on camera. We're absolutely frozen here, so we're just sitting watching the sunrise and hoping that it's going to deliver some warmth very, very soon. And then we'll pop into Chitwa. We're on Gowrie Main. It's really not the most gorgeous of roads, but it's a good road, and I love it. So once we leave the sunrise, we're going to pop into Chitwa and scratch around there and see what we can find. I remember working with the Mara Raptor project in the Mara. We did a lot of work with the martial eagles up there. I know I've mentioned this many times, but most of them are tagged in the Masai Mara. They wear a very, very special tag, and the data gets sent through when they're hunting, when they're just roosting, when they're flying. This tag can pick up on all of that, sensing its movements and its speed and its direction. And if they make a kill, you get sent, you get the GPS coordinates. I used to get it on my phone, being like, Lauren, can you just go there? And can you find out what they've killed? They would know exactly which individual it was, exactly what pair it was. And we would go and we would find them. Sometimes we would find the martial eagle itself. Sometimes we would just find a carcass. Sometimes it would just be feathers. One time it was an impala. I had the best time helping with that project. You got to know the pairs as well, the monogamous pairs up there. Oh, hello, guinea fowl. You better watch out. Mr. Mareebs loves you guys. Okay, so we're going to pop into Chitwa now and scratch around there. And as we do that, we're going to send you over to Steve with his buffalo.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're still with our buffalo bulls that are slowly feeding. We find ourselves here on the rocks in a very safe position. And now when it comes to encountering big game, we're in a perfect spot. We're up on the rocks, we're elevated, we've got lots of safety. There's absolutely no point in trying to climb down and walk and get a better view, because we're not going to get a better view. All we're going to do is chase them away, and we're going to add a bit of risk. Whereas here, we're elevated, we're safe, the animals feel safe, and life is just peachy. Jackie, normally you start finding these older bulls from the age of 10 onwards, maybe even a bit earlier, but they're prime between 7 and 9. 9 might be the end of the prime, but these older bulls are generally over 10, and they don't generally get older than 14, purely just because of the life that they live. If they do find themselves in an area of very limited lion presence, there's a very good chance that they will survive longer. Females, on the other hand, can live up to 18 years in a herd because the herd sort of looks after them. But it's the getting lost in the herd element that keeps these animals safe. Buffalo bulls, for example, end up being isolated, and that is the biggest danger they find with lion, is isolation. But so lots of pushing and shoving, but initially they could have been young bulls in a herd, very young little calves, forming some nice bonds with each other as they reach sort of adolescence and then teenage years, and then they start pushing around and start learning the ways of buffalo, and then they get replaced by a generation younger than them, and that is often why you find a group together. They're quite bonded, they know each other quite well, they've been sparring and pushing and shoving each other for years, and so they often go off together as a nice little retirement unit.
Hi, I'm Dee from the south coast of England. Today I was told I have won the most amazing prize to go to Marataba. Oh, I can't believe it. I became hooked on WildEarth last year when I was trying to escape COVID, and animals are my thing. I just love them and I love what WildEarth does. So that's why I wanted to become an explorer. Just so looking forward to going out to Marataba. Want to do a walking safari. Thank you so much, WildEarth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Nikki, your guide here at andBeyond in Ngala. So my favorite animal in the African bush definitely has to be the zebra, because like people, with our fingerprints, every single zebra has a different stripe pattern. And, of course, a group of zebras together is called the dazzle. How unique is that? Come and join me or one of my colleagues here in Ngala for a sunrise and sunset safari on WildEarth.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Welcome back to Ngala, everyone. Oh, look at what we've got for you. The black-backed jackal. So, as we're still making our way towards where the lions are, we came across this guy here. Oh, looked like he was licking himself a bit earlier. Maybe he might have caught something small that he fed on and finished. Maybe something like a rabbit or even a rat. So as we got here, he was licking himself. Of course, one of those predators that we've got here. Looks like he is running away from us. I'm not sure if the viewers can catch that sound. Those lion sounds like one of them at least is vocalizing again. Oh, and there it goes down. So that will be this jackal hunting, of course. And as soon as he heard that lion sound, like us, he stopped for a while and then he started listening, sort of accurating where the sound might be coming from. Because of course, much as this jackal is a predator itself, but being that small, you know, it is also vulnerable to other powerful predators. I think let's drive forward a bit. So from a distance, it sounded like actually one lion that's calling so far, and there's no response as of yet from the other brother. It's still looking at us. Hey? It's quite a nice and open area where it's at, so he'll be able to make some good hunting there for rats, mouse, even birds. And look at those ears also being able to pick up all the sounds. Like a bit of an irritation there. How beautiful is this creature? You see, much as he is quick actually when he's hunting, but time and again he'll just stop and listen. Because of course, with those huge ears also located high up on the head, as you saw there, he will be able to pick up some sounds, even the smallest of sounds happening in those bushes. Oh, sorry about that. I agree with you, James. That's actually very healthy. And sometimes you would find them in pairs. However, it's not unusual to find one like that. Just going about his morning, as you can see there. one of the two jackal species that we get in our area here, and this is the most common one. And we also have got the side-strapped, which actually prefers more thickets than open areas. And that's other one of these wonderful creatures that I have not seen yet. Look, being that small, even the smallest bush can camouflage him, as you saw just now. And quite nice of these jackals, because their diet, much as it consists of meat, they also do take some berries. Of course, most of the berries now are not around, but in summertime when we've got a lot of berries around, so they will go for their diet, of which is rodents, as well as other small creatures and birds, but they will also take those berries. So we are still making our way towards the direction where the sound of the lions came from. And as we were staying back there with that jackal, we heard that male vocalizing again. And so, like I said earlier, there was no response from the brother, which I think maybe he might be too far. Or you might find that there is a possibility that they might be together. So this vocalizing will be more for just advertising territories, telling other lions that we are around in our turf, and not necessarily serving as contact calling between the two brothers. Now I've got a good feeling actually about these ones today. A lot of hyena tracks along the road here. As much as I heard that sound, I still every now and then try and check for tracks. Because you might hear some lions vocalizing in the bush like this, but there might be other lions somewhere else, and then if you just work by the sound that you heard, there is a good chance that you might miss other lions that are quite close to you on the way to where you think the sound might have come from. For those who have joined us yesterday, I did mention that we are now in our dry season. Much as the bush, some other parts are thick because we've had some late rains as well, but it's slowly starting to die down a bit. So in most part of our reserve, you are able to see a little bit far from or away from where you are, which also is a nice thing. That means you will be able to see these animals at a distance. Alright, so for now we are gonna hand you over to Steve and his buffaloes.
be nice to find some lions now as well. Our buffalo bulls are not at all perturbed by us. They haven't moved. They maybe moved a little bit further, but they're feeding, eating, moving, not going very far at all. And so we're just going to remain where we are because we're kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place right now. Getting out of this position will influence the buffalo. And that's one of the most important guiding principles when it comes to walking big game is view animals and leave without influencing them. It takes a lot of skill to do. Sometimes you bump an animal, that's just what happens, and they run off or you run off. Don't run off, obviously. Sometimes it happens. But if you're able to make an approach like these buffalo have joined us, there's no point in us now disturbing them and causing them to run. There's an ethical boundary there. If, for example, the light was fading and it started getting to a dangerous time where we've got to leave, then you've got to make a call. But if anything, the light is just getting stronger. The day is working itself into much more of the day itself. So we've got plenty of time. So very nice ethical sort of boundary. Don't disturb animals. That is one of the objectives. We bring people into nature to view these animals naturally. It might not be the most exciting behavior. The buffaloes might be sleeping. They might be feeding like they are now. Now, it's not about causing them to react to you. That is not ethical. If they did react in some way, for whatever reason there might be, that's often a really, really amazing experience, but you don't ever want to cause that reaction. That is not what it's all about. So we're in a nice, safe spot. The buffalo seem very content with our presence, so we're just going to enjoy it. It's not often that you get to sit on rocks like this and just watch buffalo bulls feeding. Especially knowing we're here. Sometimes you can do it, but you have to hide. Cammy, I suppose it's like generally old men. They start balding as they get older, possibly due to the testosterone levels decreasing or maybe overwhelming testosterone levels, and eventually the fur just doesn't grow back like it used to. But you don't generally find a young buffalo losing fur unless they've rubbed themselves raw. It generally seems to be something we see with the older guys. They do a lot of rubbing, they're in the mud a lot, and it generally is one of the signs that we can tell of age is the condition of the fur. It starts to get patchy, they start to lose it in bits and pieces here and there. So it generally seems to be something with age. You see it with the older females as well in the herd. It's just the body's recovery rate, I suppose. And just not as fresh and rejuvenated as they once were.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala. So we have made our way to the area where we think that the sound of that lion came from, and we so far haven't located on this animal, so we'll just
female lion hitting north on Hoka.
We'll just keep driving and then just look out. Now it's not as warm yet, so there is a good chance that these lions we had vocalizing might still be on the move. That if that's the case, it will help a great deal locating them, like even if walking in the thickets, because these lions, unlike maybe leopards that are small, even in this sort of tall grasses, you will still pretty much be able to see a walking lion. Yeah, so I think we'll just have to look hard, because I did mention they might be moving, but there is still a good chance that they might be static wherever they are. So of course, if they've got their heads up, that's something we can pick up in these grasses, or that dark tip of the tail. That would be some of the things to look for to be able to see these animals. Or of course, if now that we are close to this area, they vocalize again or they call, then we'll be able to know the exact position. So yeah, let's just keep at it.
We just had the most perfect views of this young male, but he's off. Young male in Ngala. We're still on Chitwa. Sadly, the dam wall is closed, so we've had to sort of readjust our plans. I really wanted to spend some time at Chitwa Dam today, but it's not going to be possible. So we're just going to loop around the back quickly, see if we can come across anything, and then if not, we'll scoot back to Djuma. Well, this is far from ideal, Mr. Ngala. You don't want to be on camera today, do you? You can tell he's a young boy from his appearance, but mostly his horns. Or a younger boy, should we say. How's that? No, he really doesn't want to be on camera this morning. The younger boys have got a slightly different facial shape and much sort of shorter hair. The older bulls, they have much longer, shaggy hair and, of course, much longer horns. But this one, I'm afraid, does not want to be on camera. Megan, he is gorgeous. Ngalas are gorgeous. We get a lot of them in camp, and they've actually become completely habituated in camp. I'm not sure if we can get any views from here. How's that, Dove? And they're not scared of humans in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes when it's really, really hot in summer, they come into the heart of camp and they actually sit at our dining table. Not on the table, but right next to it. They don't sit down like a human. And they're just seeking the shade. It's under a huge tin roof. So in the sort of mid-summer heat, they just love to sit in our camp and sit under that tin roof. And you can walk right past them. And they just look at you as if to say, hey, hey, cool. They really have become very habituated to humans on foot in camp. You can walk right past them. That's the older boys, so. We used to call it the retirement village. We're losing visuals of this one. It was a tricky property because the dam is beautiful. I really, really love it. It's my favorite dam. But once you start to use the other roads, it can be very, very barren. There's not too much to see on Chitwa, unless, of course, you find one of the leopards. Tandy was found this morning, apparently, but she was very, very mobile, and she crossed into Annex, which is south of Chitwa, and we don't traverse down there. But that's the only update I have for you. Lions have also made a kill on Cheetah Plains. I don't know which lions. I would guess in Kohumas, but I don't know. And we also don't traverse there. So we're just going to do the back roads of Chitwa and see if we can come up with anything. It's still cold enough for things to be moving. even ourselves. I try to keep moving to get a little bit of warmth. But the Chitwa roads are graded often. They're really well taken care of. I think that's why we like Chitwa. So smooth, no bumps. It's really a smooth ride. They're looked after well, and that also means that you can spot fresh tracks a mile away. Another reason I like to drive these roads. They're wide, and you can really, really spot tracks. Let's go run to that nice big open area and see what we can spot. Mareebs could possibly still be sort of behind the dam wall area, but sadly we're not able to check there today. I really want to catch up with Kuchava. I really do. Preferably with her cubs. That would be ideal. But she uses Chitwa a lot, and I'd really like to catch up with her. Sadly not. There was a hyena running across quarantine this morning, but when they're running like that, you can't just off-road and keep up with them. It's really difficult. It was at quite a distance. No updates. I drove past the den with the warthogs this morning. We didn't see anything, I'm afraid. Lots of tracks, so really a lot of tracks. I can't pinpoint if they've moved or not. So once we leave Chitwa, I'm still going to keep checking to see if I can see any signs of the cubs. If they are not on Djuma and they're still on Little Gowrie, then we're probably going to have to wait until we get an update from someone else. We can't go into that property really without sort of kind permission. So if I do get an update, I absolutely will share it with you all. So we're going to quickly scratch around the open area here, and we're going to send you over to another live location.
Welcome to Phinda and Beyond, everyone. Wherever you are in a different part of the world. Wow, this is a beautiful morning. Finally, we had a problem with signal wherever we were going. We did find a cheetah that we were looking for earlier on, but they're in an area where we can't watch them. But this is so pretty. Hi everyone, my name is Busani, and behind the camera we've got Johan. Wow, we had a wonderful morning, and it is nice and cold at the moment. As you can see, I've got my beanie on, and wow, this is a nice, beautiful landscape. And look at that. So those are hippos. Although they look exactly like rock, but those are hippos. They're facing away from us at the moment, and they're trying to warm themselves out with a nice morning sunrise. But they must be freezing where they are at the moment. So this time of the day, you expect the hippos to be inside the water because it's not very, very warm at the moment. And it might happen that these two are younger males that have been kicked out on the head. It might, they're quite far away, but they might have a lot of scratches on their body. So if they go inside water, their body becomes really itchy with the wounds that they have. Wow, but this is a nice, beautiful landscape. Look at the mountain range at the background. So that is why we came into this nice open grassland to look for cheetah. So at the moment, while we're going to drive around and see what else we can find, but we're going to take you across to Tristan.
Well, Busani goes looking in search of cheetah. We've just stopped with some elephants, and it's Murphy's Law as I kind of settle in, and I'm like, oh, we can spend some time with some ellies. A leopard has just soared right next to us here somewhere. So I don't want to spend too long. I'm just going to wait for this elephant to cross the road in front of us, and then we're going to try to quickly get round to where I just heard it. It sounds like just on the road next to us, inside Djuma. So I'll try to quickly get there, see if we can't pick up on that. There's been no tracks, so I'm intrigued to know who it is. It sounded like a female calling. It's always difficult from this distance and with an elephant breaking trees next to you, but it didn't sound like it was a deep kind of male saw. There's an elephant that's unhappy. And also these ellies are a little close now that they're feeding, so we'll have to wait for them to kind of finish with their bush willow before we decide to move on. Otherwise I'm going to give them a bit of a fright, and she doesn't have a clear gap to move forward, so I don't want to do that. I want to just let her kind of do her thing, and I don't think she'll be there too long. Well, I'm hoping not anyway. When you hear leopards sawing, generally you want to try to get into that area sooner rather than later, because it starts to get quite tricky to find them. I wonder if it's not Kalamba. Maybe it's Kalamba that's calling. Could be. She's been coming up this area of late. If it's not her, then Shadilu or Mulawati maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But there's so many different leopards moving about. It's tricky to know actually who's who at the moment. There's that male that Lauren had the other day on quarantine, was seen again last night on Buffelshoek scent marking. So he's around. Could be him maybe. Tavangumi hasn't been seen in the last couple of days. The guys say that he's gone into Manyeleti, which I hope is not the case. I hope he comes kind of back in. And then obviously you've got, all these other males from Tlangula and the likes. There's just a lot going on. All right, Beeks, as much as I like the ellies, let's try and quickly go around. If we don't come right with that leopard, we know where the elephants are, we'll just come back and get them. But while there's a leopard sawing, let's try and utilize that to our advantage, because they don't soar for long, particularly, as the sun is getting up now. They will start to go quiet. What do you reckon, Beeks? I reckon maybe Balanites, Zoe, somewhere there. BK agrees with me. So check there. I know that Kalamba has been marking there a lot lately, so I suspect that that's where it is. The guys also tell me that there's tracks for Mulawati going towards Gari Dam, so I don't think it was that far. Certainly didn't feel that far. A leopard saw is fortunately and unfortunately doesn't carry like a lion roar. It's a lot harder to hear it from distance and to look, triangulate where it is. I don't think it's that road. That's a bit close. Gut tells me it's somewhere around this area. Alright, I want to just quickly check here, see if I can find any signs, any tracks. Hopefully we find the animal. In the meantime, let's send you across to Lauren.
Good luck, Tristy. We're actually crossing the Mulwanini, and we've come across this magnificent boy. And not only is he absolutely magnificent, one thing that I find quite fascinating is just 25 meters, maybe 30 meters to the west, Davi can give you a view, is exactly where all the action happened the other night. Tandi, Tlalamba, Maribs, Atalamati, and Tima, right there. Literally, just over there. And it's just amazing how things move on. The carcass is gone, the drama is over, the ebb and flow of the bush, and now we come here and there's a giraffe. It's amazing. It amazes me how time is everything here, but it's also nothing. To all the organisms, time is absolutely nothing. It's a man-made concept. They just go by the sunrise and the sunset. Whereas humans are so fixated on time. Everything we do revolves around time. And it's crazy to think that to the animals out here, and when I say animals, I mean everything, from the insects to the fish, to the reptiles, to the mammals, to the birds. Time is nothing, really. They don't have time in their life. They just have a sunrise, a sunset. And those species that do migrate, they have environmental cues. Even the impala rutting season is all about cues. It's not about time, it's not about what month. It amazes me, and sometimes I think it's really fascinating to stop and think about that. Yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it? Now we're going to leave Chitwa. We're going to head back to Djuma and just stop by all of the dams in the south and see if we can see anything. I'm going to scratch around for hyena tracks. They're somewhere. I just don't know where. Okay, so we're going to continue our scratch along the southern boundary today and see what we can find.
Hello, my name is Marnie Kell from the Greater Toronto Area of Ontario, Canada. I am most excited to meet some of the guides that I feel I already know. And I'm going to very much enjoy riding along with them to see what they see most days while they're broadcasting these safaris to us, while also staying at the beautiful Simbambili Lodge. WildEarth has brought so much to my life, and I am thrilled and grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
There's a grounding earthiness to this place that we feel in our ancestors. It's a place where, believe it or not, we evolved as a human species, and anyone who's come to Africa will understand that. The connectivity that the continent has to the person and to people's souls is next level. I'm thoroughly looking forward to taking you on your next adventure when we explore all the small and big things.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Hello, I'm Marna, your WildEarth Safari Guide from andBeyond Ngala. What I really like about connecting with WildEarth viewers is that we get to speak to viewers instantly, and I get to show you this beautiful property. If you want to ask me a question, register on the WildEarth website. Simply head over to the live safari page and you can submit your questions there. Join me or one of the other guides twice a day on WildEarth.
Gwen's den. Some of you may not know what that is. Some of you definitely will. So I'd like to show you it. I sat there for ages yesterday, but we eventually decided to move on. And it's most likely just going to be an empty termite mound to some of you, but to some of you, it will be a lot more than that. There was a hyena called Gwen, and this was sort of her den, if you like. And it's been used by the Djuma clan since the days of Gwen. And a tree collapsed. Oh, I'm trying to think when it was. It was during the rains and the summers and the storms. But actually, looking at it yesterday, it's still completely usable and still completely accessible. Toot toot. And it's literally just round the corner. So I'd just like to show you it. I didn't see any signs of hyena yesterday, but it's definitely usable as an inside for some. I mean, we just call it Gwen's den. It's on the Cheetah Cut Line, Southern Firebreak Junction. And if hyenas are inside, you are generally able to sort of spot the signs of activity, be it tracks, scat, smell, urine, all those lovely, lovely things. There you go. There is Gwen's den. It literally is just a termite mound to some of you, I know that, but there's a lot of history with this den. And the last time I really had activity at this den was with Ribbon and Peddy. This is when Ribbon was not the matriarch. She was the lowest ranking of all the hyenas. She was miserable. She'd lost a cub. She had Peddy, who was the lowest ranker, very small, slow to develop, cute, gorgeous hyena. And the two of them were just always here. And I don't know if you can see the dendron staff. It's a sort of hole. It's definitely still accessible. There's also a hole around the other side. So if hyenas really wanted to use it, they definitely could. But I mean, there's no hyena tracks on the road. Did you get that named up?
Patterson.
Patterson. Patterson. Sorry, my nose is running. I need to find some tissue. Patterson, you're asking what makes a move in. I guess a number of reasons, but primarily it would be... I'm actually going to show you the other side. It's quite spectacular around the other side. Primarily it would be sort of parasite load. I mean, hyenas, well, they're not the most hygienic animal, shall we say, and you put a number of different cubs in there, it's going to start to get a little bit smelly. Parasites are going to build up and all sorts of nasty things. So normally it's parasite load, hygiene reasons. It can also be if there's been a threat, if maybe lions have sort of approached the den and maybe there's been some sort of interaction there. I think you can get a nice view of that hole from there. And secondly, the cubs are constantly getting bigger. The dynamics are constantly changing. You've got different litters from different females. There'll definitely be cubs that are older and thus bigger. There'll definitely be cubs that are smaller and thus younger, and thus smaller. So there's constant change. And as they get bigger, some dens just won't fit anymore and they need to move. So it really can be a number of reasons, but normally it's parasite load. But they stayed at Philemon's Dip Den number 3 for a really, really long time. And that's it. It's got a lovely little drainage line underneath. It's actually a perfect hyena den here. But I don't think there's any hyena activity in here right now. But it's always worth checking. Okay, now I've got to reverse out of here somewhere. Okay, I'm going to check the fire break. There's some other termite mounds here that could be possible hyena dens, so we're just going to check and we're going to send you guys over to Tristan.
and hopefully you pick up some sort of sign. We had access last night, seemed to be hyena heaven. There was tracks absolutely everywhere for them. Right, no sign yet of this leopard. You might, I don't know, some of you that are observant might pick up leopard tracks in front of me as we're going on the road, but these are not the ones we're looking for. These are from Mulawati from this morning that we heard at about 5 o'clock. This is him, but the leopard we heard now can't be these tracks, because these tracks, Marcel went to to Gowrie Mast to go and sort something out there for us to start this morning, and he's on top of these. This leopard that we just heard sawing should be in this area. It would be on top of Marcel's tracks, and they're not. So these are not the right ones. These are the ones that continue down to Gowrie Dam and then head, by the sounds of it, southeast from there. There's no ways that the leopard we heard sawing can be in that area. It was much closer than that. I know it's cold today and sound travels, but it's definitely not the right one. I'm also way too far north now for it to be where we heard that sawing. So just for the sake of just being thorough and making sure that I just check the tracks so I can see if maybe something else has moved in here, I'm just doing this road and circling this block. Unfortunately, this block is quite big, and so it's possible that the leopard is just inside the block. If I can get a track, then I know which direction it's heading and where to check. So that's why I'm doing this. So maybe if this leopard came from the north to south, then I know, okay, I need to check in this area, or if it came from the south north, or if it came from west east, or whatever it may be, we can then loop around to the direction it's traveling, and that'll help us in being able to find it. Alright, well, while we're on the move and checking, let's send you over to Marcus, who's doing very much the same thing.
Yeah, welcome back to andBeyond Ngala. So we drove to the area where we thought that the sound was coming from, only to find that when we got there, those lions vocalized again from a different direction. So looks like they are tormenting us this morning, but that's okay. So the last sound that we heard, it sounded like somewhere on this road that we are driving in at the moment, or the road next to it for that matter. So it's getting promising, but yeah, sometimes this happens. Hey, you look for these animals, and just when you think that you almost got them, you don't find a thing. But yeah, with that last sound that they made, it sounded like it was coming from this direction that we are heading towards. And we are not the only station looking for them, so at least we've got more eyes looking out. If we do find them ourselves, of course we will be happy, but then we'll have to call the others to come view them, since we are pretty much on the same predicament this morning of finding these lions. And by the sound of things, I think they might be on the move, because when they first vocalized, that direction that we went to is pretty much where I am almost certain that the sound came from. And now, as you can see, it's sort of a different direction. Similar area, but different directions. So let's just drive, keep a lookout. Hopefully they call again while we're getting closer and closer. Because of course, for the males to be calling like that, it requires a certain energy for them, and because they have been using energy patrolling their territories at night, so there will be a time where they'll just have to keep that bit of energy that they might still have in them, rest for the day, recuperate, and then wait for the night when they will be on the move again, whether be it hunting or even patrolling their territories. But yeah, we haven't had any luck so far. So we'll just look for tracks, because when we get to junctions, it always helps to look for tracks. See if maybe we'll be able to see them going somewhere. I think I do have one track on the road here. Yeah. So the tracks are actually here coming from this other road into this one that we are in at the moment. So there is these tracks do not look like they continue along the road here. I think I'll just have to find where they cut off the road, and then we'll take it from there. But they don't look like they continue along this road.
We're back around to our elephants. I just want to sit with them again. I couldn't find any sign of any footprints, so maybe I was slightly off on where it was, but both BK and I kind of felt like it was the same area, which normally is a good indication. But I couldn't find any tracks along the whole route around this block. So what I want to do now is just sit for a little bit with them again and hope that this leopard calls, and if not the leopard calling, maybe some alarm calls of impala or something like that that indicate where this animal is. If nothing, after we've been with these ellies, then we'll do a wider loop and see what happens. But I'll just sit and enjoy the ellies feeding in the warm sunshine for a little bit and listen to the sounds of nature. Right, well, we'll see what these guys get up to. Okay, well, we're with the elephants again, and hopefully that leopard will soar once more. We didn't pick up any signs. I wonder, maybe it was a bit further than we thought with the cold air. Often sound travels better on cold mornings than it does in warmer conditions. So Yeah, I don't know. I didn't find any indication. But maybe while we're sitting here, he'll soar again and we'll kind of pick it up. It's worth just chilling with the elephants in that regard. If we don't have at least a track, then better to stay with them. Karen, no, not at all. Lion roars and leopard soars are completely different in the way that they sound, and yeah, I mean the best way is just to Google both of those sounds and listen to them. It's a very, 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 very different sound. They don't. Hence why it's called a saw and not a roar. It sounds like the sawing of wood. That's where that name comes from. It's not a big booming drawn out call. Very short, sharp exhales that cause this kind of sawing sound. So let me come back for you a little bit so you don't have to contort yourself. Poor BK is trying to keep these ellies in frame. So I'm just going to come back a little bit so that he can get them without having to worry too much. Better, BK. It's Murphy's Law that leopard soared while we were moving. I'm just trying to think if it's not Mulawati who it could be. I mean, like I said, one of the girls could have been calling, but Shidulu theoretically shouldn't be sawing at all. I doubt we'd hear any sawing from Moya or Sabi up this side. They don't come this way. So that only really leaves Tlalamba. I suppose Tortoise Pan could be in this area. It's possible. The other day when I had him, he kind of came from this sort of side. That's theoretically possible. Unless Mulawati just did a massive loop back and is now heading back towards where his tracks kind of started. Maybe that's what's happened. I don't know. So once we're done with these ellies and they cross and they get into the thickets, then I'll do a kind of bigger loop. Stephanie, when they reach maturity, so if we're talking sort of breeding age, the females already are capable of mating at 12 years old and having young ones. But the bulls really, when we talk maturity, they only reach kind of a mature bull status in their 20s, really. As teenagers, they're not really a part of the landscape as a breeding individual, so their sort of ability to breed is much later in life, as opposed to the cows. But theoretically, from a biological or physiological aspect, they can start breeding already in their early teens, so 12 to 15 years old, whether it be male, female, either one is capable of breeding at that time. It's just not that you'd call them mature animals at that time. They will be young individuals. Sort of mature cows and bulls are normally older individuals. So like I say, once they get into their sort of 20s, then they're considered a lot more mature, but actually in reality, from a physiological standpoint, they mature into adults quite early on, early teens, much like people. The elephant's lives and their sort of way of doing things is very similar to people, and the time spans are very similar in many ways. Alrighty, I'm going to just probably sit a little bit longer and listen. Unfortunately, our ellies are disappearing, and so we're going to probably carry on if we don't hear anything. And hopefully we'll get some tracks. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Lauren.
Davi and I are just sitting here, hanging out with our friends. We're just chilling with these guys. Our friends, the vervet monkeys. Hello guys. What time are you going to arrive in camp? Food deliveries tomorrow. Yes, not today. It's changed. I do love a good vervet monkey sighting when they're not in camp. They have the most unique relationship with humans. And it's actually quite fascinating to observe them in camp and their remarkable ability to... Davi's got a little bag that he keeps all his camera stuff in. And they're able to really carefully open that zip and get to everything inside. Open buttons, open zips, open lids, open Ziploc bags. They really have the most remarkable ability to get into everything. But what fascinates me the most is their response to male and female humans. It's completely different. They will not respond to me the way they respond to Davi, or Tristan, or Marcel. They're highly visual animals, but we have had beautiful females that have worked for us, and they have short hair, really short hair, shorter than Davi's. Davi used to have really, really long hair. Some females have got more of a masculine physique, some males have got more of a feminine physique. So what on earth are they looking at? How can they determine between male and female? Is it the voice when we shout, hey? I mean, you get some males with really, really high voices. You get some females with really deep voices. It can't be visual. They cannot possibly determine a female who's also tall, masculine physique, and extremely short hair. Is it chemical? But how are they getting those chemical cues from far away? We do lots of experiments in camp, and yes, I mean, I'm obviously a female. I've got long hair, I'm tiny, I'm small. Hi, little boys. So maybe they know that I'm female. But there's definitely people that have been in our camp that maybe don't fit the sort of stereotype. So how are these monkeys identifying us by our gender? Because as soon as Tristan or Davi or Marcel or BK runs up to a monkey, they will run away. If I do that, they don't move. We can hear Impala's alarm calling, but these monkeys are not exactly responding, but they're looking. If monkeys see a leopard, you hear them. Should we drive around, Dove? Okay, let's drive around. Although this is a lovely sighting, if we can hear alarm calls, we better follow up. One monkey's looking. Bye guys, see you in camp later on. But anyway, that was just my speculation. I just wonder what cue are they using to definitely know that I am female, for example, and Davi is male, because they really don't respond to us in the same way, not even close. I think I should go this way. Scratch around here and see if we can find the alarming impala or the predator.
Suspended above Kenya's Masai Mara is a breathtaking lodge where unrivaled service goes hand in hand with extraordinary wildlife sightings. Ngama Mara offers a quiet place where guests have the opportunity to reconnect with the world again. Sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer before the end of July, and you and a friend could win a 3-night stay at this award-winning lodge. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. The importance of forests cannot be underestimated. Over 1 billion people live in and around forests, depending on them for fuel, food, medicine, and building materials. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, is the national implementer for a program called LEAF. The LEAF program makes use of indigenous forests grown on school properties to teach pupils about biodiversity. This directly instills a sense of ownership of the natural surroundings and reconnects children with our biomes and heritage. WESA needs your help to bring nature back to schools. Ask your school to join the program through the link on their website. Together with WESA, you can help take this incredible program to schools across the country.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes, unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala. And yeah, we are still on the quest to find our lions with no luck so far, but the last tracks that we had were actually into this block to our left here. So we just drove a loop road to see if they don't come out the other side. And then so far they don't seem like they are coming out. So what we are going to do from here, we will just drive back to where we last had those tracks, and then I'll try follow them on foot into this block here, and hopefully that will be fruitful. Yeah, you know, I was almost certain that we were gonna find them on the road, at least from that last vocalizing from that male. But yeah, like I mentioned, it went into this block. So I'm just hoping that maybe they've gone static somewhere, they're not really moving. That when I do follow them on foot, I will be able to catch up with them as opposed to if they are still moving. But yeah, like I mentioned, on this road, no tracks are coming out so far, which tells me that there is a good chance they are still in this block on our left here. Nothing so far here. So we'll just make our way around to the last position of those tracks. So like I mentioned, I'm not sure how many animals we are after, but from the tracks that I've been seeing, it's at least one male. Sorry, can you repeat the question for me? So Karen will want to know which animals have got difficulties in finding food in winter, if I heard that correctly. So, well, Karen, with the predators, like most of them are quite good in hunting. Yet in winter, because there isn't a lot of bushes or the grasses that they can use as cover. So I think relatively most of them do have that difficulty when it comes to finding food. But that being mentioned, they will still make kills every now and then. So I think maybe the ones that do struggle is the ones that are eating grasses. Because the grass in winter especially is not as nutritional, as just dry grasses. But of course, if dry grass is what is available, they'll just readily take that and then drink a lot of water. Some birds as well, and hence some birds will migrate as we are approaching our winter or dry season. They will just migrate, go to areas that will be warmer. They will have a lot more food.
With the alarm calls. It's very close to Treehouse Dam, so we went to Treehouse Dam and just sat on the wall to listen. But no luck so far, but we're still going to scratch around. No one has walked on this road, that's for sure. It's only vehicle tracks. Literally, not even a hyena. Some impala down here. Impala alarm calls, that snort is one of my favorite sounds out here. I love it. These impalas look very relaxed. Taking the Misikaya Road, aka Texans Road. And see if we can see anything. This is still, although the hyena den is not here anymore, this is still a really prominent road. It's still a prominent game path, although it's actually now officially a road. It started off as a game path, and literally all the individuals that are in this area use this road. Talamatis, Nkuhumas, Shidulu, Klalamba. Tandy not so much anymore, I'm afraid, but Tingana, Moya. I've had sightings of everybody on this road. So it's always worth checking. I can't see who's out though. This used to be hyena den number 1. This was Cork's den. Look at all you guys. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow. That's a lot of dwarf mongoose. Hi guys, you just sunbathing? It appears so. It seems like it's been a cold night for all. I absolutely love mongoose, all of them. I think they're really, really fabulous animals. animals. The dwarfies definitely have the sort of most personality, if you like. They're the ones that I would say are quite habituated to vehicles. They really are. I mean, the slenders, trying to get a slender on camera is a mission within itself, but the dwarfies, sometimes they dive in, but within seconds they're back out again. They're equally curious about the car as you are about them. And you can see that mongoose are actually related to hyenas quite closely, in fact. And this used to be the hyena den, and now it's a mongoose den. And clearly no hyenas are using it, that's for sure. This is where Darkmane attacked Corky. This is the den that I first got introduced to way back in 2018. This was the only hyena den I ever knew. And I spoke about an elephant charge yesterday on the Sunset Drive, a matriarch, when I was on drive with Jamie. And it happened here. And if you look at it now, it just looks like a mound. I mean, it is just a mound, but just considering all of the sort of activity that has actually happened here over the years. Look at them all, Dav, all in that one little space on the right there. There must be about 6 of them there. Many of you are saying you love it when they stretch and they yawn. I love it too, and they stretch their entire body out and just lie there trying to catch all the sun rays. And it's important. It has been a really cold night. So normally the mongoose come out very, very slowly. It's not a case of everyone emerging from their mound at once. Normally the alpha male comes out, he checks, he scans, he looks up for aerial threats, down for terrestrial threats, even further down for the likes of snakes in summer. And then slowly but surely signals to them all and they all come out. And then it's time to groom each other, clearly, and warm up. I think this is a huge group. I think there's a lot of youngsters here as well. Critter freak! You're saying adorable, I know. But when we say predator, we must also remind ourselves, dwarf mongoose are also predators. Vicious and formidable in their own right. We see them as adorable, that's our perceptions. But if you're a dung beetle or a scorpion, you are not going to think they're adorable at all. It's funny how it's all about perceptions. I just love their social cohesive unit. And we've been seeing a sort of group of banded mongoose around as well. And they're not entirely uncommon, it's just quite uncommon for us to see them. It used to be very, very common and habituated in the Masai Mara, but here on Djuma, it's really not a common sighting to see the banded mongoose. We've been getting lucky with the white-tailed at night time as well, the nocturnal species. This is actually the den that we caught the Djuma clan moving to. Remember that sighting I had? They were moving from 3 to 1. This is the den that they moved to. Anthony, absolutely they would, if they could. Hyenas really, when a hungry hyena is hungry, it's going to eat anything. I'd have to catch them first. Could a hyena catch one? They're very alert, they're very fast, they're very quick on their feet, mongoose. They've got that unique ability to dive into the smallest holes. I'm not entirely sure a hyena would have the remarkable hunting skills that Tandy has, for example, when it comes to hunting mongoose. But would a hyena eat one if it could? Absolutely. I don't think there's much a hyena really wouldn't eat. They just eat everything and anything. The hyenas were in camp last night and this morning. I don't know who it was. I've watched Tandy hunt dwarf mongoose and squirrels, those sort of smaller mammals. But a hyena is not so quiet in its approach, shall we say. Not got that ambush stalking skills that the cats do, the felids do. Oh, this has been so lovely. It's also given us an opportunity to listen. Sadly, not heard anything. I think we're just going to sit here a little bit longer and enjoy our dwarf mongoose. And we're just sitting here watching a group of dwarf mongoose. We've all just woken up. And they're really making the most of the sun, the warmth that's starting to fill the air, make life a little bit easier here this morning. There's so many of them, and they're so adorable to watch. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Just sit here for a moment or two and watch the mongoose. Aren't they so sweet? They're just grooming, warming up, and getting ready for a day of hunting.
Well, no luck so far with this leopard calling. I'm beginning to think I went crazy. If it wasn't for the fact that BK also heard it. I just can't find any sign or indication, and I've gone way beyond where it sounded like it was coming from. We've gone right around north, quite far north of where we were. We've come down far to the east, far to the south, and the only tracks that I can find are those same Mulawati tracks that, like I say, couldn't have been the right ones. So I don't know, unless there's a leopard in the block somewhere and somehow we've missed the track cutting the road. Yeah, I don't know who it could be or where it is, because there's no ways it came from where we are now. It's just too far. Couldn't have heard it. I'm throwing a Hail Mary by coming this far south just in case, but I really am not confident that it was this far down. It sounded much more up on the crest area towards sort of Triple M, because remember we've heard that from Triple M side, so being down near Treehouse is just crazy far for that to be the case. But I'll just check here in case. You never know, maybe our hearing is better than we think it is and it sounded closer than it actually was. Doubt it though. The dam, and then from the dam what we'll do is I want to just check Triple M up and see if I find a track crossing Triple M, then I can maybe think, okay, well, it's in the block somewhere. I just need to go and keep looping and eventually it'll come out. Generally, calling cats like that are not cats that are sitting stationary, they're normally mobile. So that's why I'm hoping if I can, I'll find the cat moving on the road again, or just even crossing the road. And it just gives us a better indication of where we're heading and the direction I need to travel. The problem when you only hear them saw once is because you kind of have a rough idea, but if you hear it again, then you can tell if it's moving or if it's stationary, or, you know, all of those kind of things help when they call more than once. But we only heard the one time, unfortunately. I did stop with the Ellies for a while, and I stopped and listened at one of the junctions where I thought it might be nothing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just Mulawati playing games. That happens sometimes. He likes to play games, does that cat. Okay, Rusty, calm down. It's just mud. Just checking in the shade there. I thought there's something maybe lying down, but it's just mud. You start seeing things, that's when you know you're starting to get to that point where you've been looking too hard. You've got to kind of ease off again and just let it come, because that's the way the bush works. Is often when you least expect it, that's when things make an appearance. When you kind of force it a little bit, then I feel like sometimes it just doesn't reward you for your impatience. Probably absolute nonsense, but it feels that way sometimes. Alright, so I'm gonna just slowly bumble along here, and we're gonna hit back towards Triple M, back up north to where I think it is, and try one more loop around. In the meantime though, let's send you across to Steve.
Good luck, Tristan. Good luck finding your cat. Well, everybody, we've found some very interesting carcasses on the floor here. There's a whole line of them. And I've been finding them lately and trying to figure out what's going on. And the only thing I can come up with is, and it's quite difficult to understand, because what this is really is a whole lot of ant bodies. All of these are ant bodies, and there's probably 7 or 8, 9 piles right here. And what happens in some type of ant, the Formicidae, harvester ants, I believe, in lean times when conditions are a little bit tough, they might sacrifice a whole lot of their soldiers, actually consume the bodies and then dump the bodies outside. And that's what I'm thinking's happened. I can't find a hole to indicate where the ants would have come out from. And also it's not harsh conditions. There's plenty of food around, so why would they be doing this? Maybe there was a surplus. I really don't know. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that I can count. 14 that I can count just here. Have they fallen out of the tree? I don't think so. They wouldn't have landed in such nice little globules. It's very hard to tell everybody. There's no form of dung, like if an animal's eaten it. There's no form of some form of animal dropping sand from a pangolin or an aardvark. It would indicate that these were ingested. This one's all stuck together though. It might just have been when you pile a whole lot of compost together, it sticks together. Very, very interesting. So if any of you know why this might be, it's not something I've ever come across before. But all of them, body parts of large soldier ants. There's the legs, there's the bodies, there's the heads, all there. Fascinating. Been seeing it for a week already, but only in small little groups, and now we found a really large accumulation of it. So, for example, if it came down to that, the harvester ants were sort of low on food, they need to sacrifice some individuals. It'd sort of be like the queen would send out a pheromone message to the whole colony and say, 25 of you got to go, 25% of you got to go, raise your hands. And they march towards the entrance, they get consumed, and then their body parts dumped outside. Can you imagine? Imagine the order that would happen in there, just all for the greater good. There's no let's put a straw in, or let's hide and fight, and let's just sacrifice ourselves for the benefit of the community. And well, dwarf mongoose are also in nice communities, but I doubt that they ever sacrifice themselves for the family.
This is a completely separate mound in a completely different location. And look, same scenario. Now this mound, I must say, is not impressive at all. It is more a minor stump in the ground. That's it. What you're looking at right now, that's it. There you go. Really not impressive. And yet, it's probably got a very deep, intricate burrow system inside. You guys are everywhere this morning. All doing the exact same thing. This is a completely separate group. They normally have a territory of about 1 kilometre squared. So it's small. I mean, they're small animals, really. And within that territory, they have a network of mounds that they'll use. Because say you go hunting and you go out for the day and then all of a sudden you lose track of time. We were talking about time earlier. Time doesn't really have a place in the animal kingdom like it does in the world of humans. And you realize, the sun's setting. Oh my goodness, we're so far away now from the mound that we stayed in last night. We don't have time to make it back there before darkness falls. We just got to jump in the next available mound. They are strictly diurnal. You will not see one moving at all below the surface as that sun starts to set. I said earlier it's the alpha male that checks. I actually think it's the alpha female that comes out and checks. The lady comes out and does all the sort of scanning, the security checks, before letting the rest of the group know that the coast is clear. And although it's very cute when you see them grooming, which is exactly what they're doing right now, it's very sweet to look at. And they are grooming each other, but they're also transferring saliva onto one another. Intentionally so. So that they can transfer scent. They're highly olfactory animals. And that whole group, this is a different group from the one earlier on, they'll have a unique smell. We can't smell it, of course, but they will have a unique smell. And that's like their own sort of unique chemical barcode, chemical signature that will be completely different from the other group we just showed you moments ago. They won't smell the same. To us, they'll probably smell the same. But if you're a dwarf mongoose, they absolutely won't. And that's how they identify each other and separate the groups. What do you guys smell like? I want to know. Just the same as lions, grooming also sort of strengthens those cohesive bonds or social group. There's a whole lot of things happening right now. A whole lot of itching going on. It's making me want to itch. They do also mark their territories. Not in the same way a leopard or a lion does, but if you're a territory holder in any organism across the board, you have to defend it somehow. No matter how big your territory is or how small it is. Even if it's 30 meters square for a cob or 1 kilometer square for dwarf mongoose, you've got to defend it, otherwise it's not a territory. And these guys do it through sort of both cheek and anal gland secretions that they leave behind throughout their territory. Bernie Lulu? I like that name. You're asking, is it just the alpha female that gets pregnant? And I believe so. She's the largest, and she's obviously sort of sitting at the top naturally. And subordinate dwarf mongoose always sort of bow down. They always act subordinate and submissive to the alpha. And they always sort of, I guess, maybe show signs of respect. Similar in any social group where there's a leader, a matriarch, an alpha. And I'm not sure what happens if a beta female or a sort of next down the line female would get pregnant. But I believe it's just the alpha female, and they all work together to look after the young. The young are extremely important. It's a collective effort. But there's lots of sort of evidence and studies gone into wild dogs. They also have an alpha pair when the beta gets pregnant. And I'm not sure if that happens in dwarf mongoose or what would happen if that happened. But it is the alpha pair that definitely do all the breeding. So we're going to keep scratching around here for a little while and see if we can see any signs of that predator.
Hello everyone, my name is Trishala and I am a naturalist and safari guide here in Djuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands in South Africa. I think that the information that we provide, and most importantly the questions that you ask, give both you and I a really good idea of what's going on. My friend Fernando here, he's a flat-necked chameleon and I love them. They're just these gems that you manage to find in the bush.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river. It's being washed away, unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful. Look at that. One crossing, two to go. How cool is this?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Well, we've found what we're looking for in the form of tracks of a female leopard. It's on top of all the vehicle tracks on this road, which is the busiest road we have on the reserve. So the fact that we have these tracks is super good news. You can see where she went for a poo in front here. I was just poking the poo to try and see how fresh it is, but it is very, very, very fresh. If you look there, it hasn't even gotten a black film on it yet. It's got this brown kind of olive color, and you can see her tracks coming through, and they cross into Djuma. So I want to try and quickly turn here and follow them. Maybe this is the leopard we heard calling. I don't know. These seem fresher than that because, like I say, this road is driven heavily around here. So, and she cut in from there. She goes over this little section here, and then she goes through onto the fire break, and then it looks like she cuts over from there. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can find her. Just hope she didn't cross back out, but I didn't see any tracks crossing. The problem is there's a honey badger that's run around here last night and has obviously been all over the place. It's like up, down. So there's just these honey badger tracks everywhere, and from a distance they can sometimes appear pretty leopard-like. So yeah, just want to make sure she didn't come back out again. So just drive this section slowly. The good news is that I've driven a lot of these roads, so if I pick up her tracks on top, we're going to be right behind her. I would imagine that this cat, there's some impalas here. They look all pretty chilled. I'd imagine this cat must be Shidulu. There could also be Moya. So one of the two of them. So they should be relaxed cats and easily trackable if they are around. But I always worry about tracks on this road because I'm always like, you know, if there's cars over the top, it can be from early in the morning. But like I said, this is on top of every car that I can see, which tells me that it's from now. And that poo itself is also pretty fresh. So let's just check here carefully that she didn't come along the fire break and cross on the fire break side. Nothing there. So if she did go straight through, she should come out pretty much in front here. There's a big brown ivory that they all like to scent mark at. Yeah, these birds. Rattling testiculars that are making noise here on my left. I wonder if she's not watching these impalas. It's possible. Mandy impalas for sure. Group of impalas. Can't beat it. When you hear all of them going together, then you know. It's one of the most reliable and easiest to follow up on. Kudu and Ngala, very good as well, but don't alarm call for long. But yeah, impalas really are, for leopard particularly. I mean, lions too, they give away lions a lot, but when they see leopard, they just go another kind of crazy. Okay, so she hasn't come out here. I wonder if she's not watching those impalas still. Let's just check quickly. So nothing crossing this road, and we're going to check this little section here, but this block is not very big. So if she's come through this, then we know that, you know, she's kind of moving. But if she hasn't, then she's right here somewhere. We should be able to hopefully find her. It's not a very easy area, and this road is not easy to see tracks on. I'm just going to try and see. I know Shidulu likes to walk here. The problem is if she just crosses the road, then it's not great. But if she heads in this direction, it's okay, because that takes us to another nice big sandy beautiful road that I can see nicely. If she crosses in this direction, it's not quite as pleasant. BK, just look out for her. She might be sitting right here somewhere. But I suspect she cut off that fire on that fire break because she saw those impalas. That's what I think. And she's busy stalking there. So I want to go back to those if I don't find anything and just check. You see, there's nothing here. Ooh, Jelaine. The most epic leopard hunt that I've ever seen. An interesting one, actually. I don't know, actually. I feel like I've seen some pretty cool ones. I actually, funnily enough, weirdly, with leopard hunts, it's often you don't see much. You just see a leopard lying in the grass for a long time, and then you just see a flurry of activity, and by the time you get there, the animal's kind of down. So, trying to think. There's none that really come to mind as like crazy. Most of them are just like these short little bounds and grabs and kind of have it. I actually haven't had the most luck with leopards hunting. A lot of people have seen much better stuff than I have when it's come to that. So yeah, I'm trying to think if anything really stands out, but nothing as yet has come to mind of anything really crazy. And that monitor lizard the other day was pretty epic, just from the whole kind of story behind it. It's, you know, a little male leopard that we was worried about that comes back with a bang, grabs quite possibly the largest monitor lizard I've seen. I mean, it wasn't a flurry of activity, but it was just crazy, and all just happened so fast. That was pretty cool. Yeah, there's been the odd epic ones from them, kind of impalas trying to jump over leopards and they grab them. I've had that before. So yeah. But nothing that really, like one specific one that comes to mind is like, that was amazing, you know. It probably has been over the years, but I just can't think of it right now. You know, it's one of those things that probably, you know, I'll drive later when the drive's finished, or be kind of milling about at breakfast, and it will pop into your mind. It's like, oh yeah, that happened. That was pretty cool. You know, sometimes that's what happens out here. Okay, I can't find anything crossing here. So, back to the impala. I think she's watching the impala. That's what I think, personally. So we're going to go back there and check. Not a very big block. And where her tracks are, they should be coming out somewhere in front here. So she should be somewhere close. We'll take the little fire break towards those impalas and just check on the sort of grass line, because we should pick her up close to the grass. If she's watching impalas, then she'll be just on the fringe where she can see them, but it is obscured. The only problem is she's going to be trying to hide. So, you know, trying to find a hiding leopard is not always easy.
So we briefly went down on foot looking for the lions, which we were not able to relocate. But we, however, have got an update of some other lions on the western parts of our property. So those are the ones that we're trying to go for, that will be able to share our viewers. So there were a lot of tracks at one point, which makes me think that these ones that were found on the western side are some of those ones, or some of the ones that left those tracks we're looking at. So I'm just glad that some of them at least were found. However, I don't think the male is with them, because the male that we had vocalizing did not sound that like it was coming from as far as the western side of the property. I think it's still somewhere central. Maybe now he has just found himself a nice patch of shade where he is resting for the day. And then he'll just be at it come sunset again. And if it's the brothers separated, then maybe they can meet up and start patrolling their territory together. But yeah, we are now making our way. So at least one other guy did find these other ones that I mentioned in the western side of the property, which is quite cool. So if pretty much like these animals that we see in one area together, lots of eyes looking, they do sometimes make things a bit easier. So that's the same with us. If we've got a lot of other guides that are looking for the same animals you're looking at least there are a lot of eyes looking out.
Well, there we go. I said she'd be stalking the impalas, and I came to the impalas. I said to BK, just check very carefully here on the edge. Maybe we'll spot her. And then as we drove, we saw her just kind of tucked off in the bush. So we were quite correct in our assessment of where she would be. You know, when you've got fresh tracks like that and impalas close by, that leopard is somewhere there watching. It looks like Shadulu. I can't see 100% just yet. Her face is a little obscured, but it does look like her. I think what I'm going to do is I don't want to move too much because there's crested francolins between her and I, and if I push the crested francolins towards her, they're going to shout at her, and that's going to alert the impalas. So what I'm going to do is back up a little bit and just go round, and then we should get a nice view of her face from back here. But it does look like Shadulu. Sort of behaving like Shadulu too. Moya is much lighter than this. Sneaky cat. I was close to her when I was walking on foot. I came right up towards where we are now. I think if I just walked a little further, I would have seen her on foot. But anyway, just goes to show, you see when you do those loops and you figure out, you can see where the impala are too. The impala just here on my right hand side. Hello girl. I know it's not the best view of her, but always nice to see. Big yawn. See if we're gonna get going now. I want to see if she's got suckle marks. I'm hoping she's going to stand up. This yawning is normally a good indication that they're going to stand up. I mean, her head is behind grass. I don't know, Beaks, if you've got a better view than me. All I've got is grass and 2 ears. There we go. It's better. Now, I believe she's got a few cuts and scrapes because she's been fighting with Markham Sava. Apparently the two of them have been going at each other heavily lately around Arathusa. And it seems like both of them apparently have come away with some wounds on them. So if you do see some cuts and scrapes on her, that's where they've come from. I can see one on her neck there. Looks like she's got a nasty little gash on her neck.
Female leopard tracks on Valivia steering heading eastwards.
So she might have a few little bumps and bruises at this stage, but I was hoping she was going to get up and start walking. Instead, she's just lay back down again. Well, what's wrong? I feel like she's got another wound maybe on that left side. She's been quite ginger with the way that she's scratching on her back there. Maybe she's got a little owie somewhere there. Life with these cats is hard. It's not easy at all. I don't want to move too much because she's not actually that far from the impalas. She's fairly close to them, and if she just sits quietly in this area, she'll eventually be able to hope that these impalas will push off the fire break into these grassy areas, and she can then have a much better chance, or she'll kind of give up and just carry on and go and do her own thing. See what she does. It does have milk there, look. Off she goes. I wonder. Now, where we are right now is a place where Shadow has kept cubs before. I've had Shadow here with little ones. So you never know what can happen in these things. I don't see tracks coming out of this area, so it doesn't fill me with confidence that she's denning here. But when you've got cats that are pregnant, or have been pregnant and are showing signs of suckle marks, one can never be sure. And she's been here the last week. We've seen a lot of Shadulu around this area, a lot of tracks. She was obviously chased by the Telematis. So it's possible. Wouldn't that be such an epic surprise if she took us to little ones? Sure, I'd be excited. I might have a little meltdown, a little conniption if we see little cubs after seeing Tiani's little ones. To see Shadulus would be so epic. Hello, my girl. It's not a heavy milk pouch, but there is definitely milk there. Scent mark. Alrighty. So where Shadow used to keep her cub, which was not Barbara, was just here in front, so not far now at all. They used to hang around. There's a little drainage section here and like a hole. She used to use that as a little den site. Anyway, let's follow her through here. Let's see where she goes. I'm going to just not go too quickly with her. We'll just go slowly and see what she gets up to. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Phinda.
Wow, welcome back everyone. We have found a single lioness. Look at how she's busy grooming herself at the moment. Oh, something caught her attention. That is why she immediately stopped grooming herself. Look at that. So we haven't seen exactly how many lions there are around here where we are, because as you can see that it's quite thick where she is at the moment. We're busy following the cheetah tracks around this area, and we come across with her just resting. So while she's busy grooming herself like that, which means she might get up and start walking along. hopefully she will be able to help us find a cheetah. But she looks like she's quite lazy at the moment. And she's on a nice shady spot. Hopefully oh, look at that. And where we last saw the cheetah tracks, it's in the direction where she's looking at the moment. It's unbelievable how well she blends in with the color of the grass. She's a very big female. Look at the thickness of the neck, just behind the head. Oh, she's so pretty. Look at the size of the head as well. That's an enormous female. So perhaps she has gone away from the pride because she wanted to increase chances of catching something. If she doesn't catch anything, perhaps late by this afternoon, she will go back and join the pride again. She's one of my favorite lions to watch. So while she's lying and she looks really alert, so if something walks past here where she is, she will be very interested. It is quite windy, and most of the prey species would pick up a scent very easily and try to run away. But if it's approaching from upwind, look at that. Wow. So we're gonna spend time around with her and see what she does.
Hi, I'm Dee from the south coast of England. Today I was told I have won the most amazing prize to go to Marataba. Oh, I can't believe it. I became hooked on WildEarth last year when I was trying to escape COVID, and animals are my thing. I just love them and I love what WildEarth does. So that's why I wanted to become an explorer. Just so looking forward to going out to Marataba. Want to do a walking safari. Thank you so much, WildEarth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature. As one of the industry's best and Fagasa endorsed training institutes, NJ Moorfield Guide College produces professional guides of exceptional caliber and gives students from around the world an incredible experience. NJ Moore offers courses to suit all types of interests. The full-length career course results in a Fagasa accredited qualification and the option of a 6-month internship at one of Moore Family Collection's luxury safari lodges. Shorter courses are a great introduction for those considering a career in field guiding or even a life-enriching experience in your gap year. With spaces still available in July, don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to live your African dream.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, we're still with Shadulu, so she hasn't gone to the den site, which is probably a good thing. Otherwise, I would, like I say, would have had heart palpitations. 2 different leopard moms in a week would be asking for way too much. But anyway, we're still following her at the moment. She's just moving through the block. I think she's looking for food more than anything else. I'm surprised she didn't try with those impalas for longer. It's not like she had been seen. Maybe she just thought that it's just too open with the fire break and everything else, and she'll rather come and just check this area out, see for any signs of maybe duiker or steenbok or something like that. So I'm just going to try to get ahead of her a little bit. Just be careful here that you don't get hit with any branches. Now she's changing direction again. Wonder where her cubs are. You can see that little milk belly kind of going back and forth. I haven't been able to see nicely yet if there's fresh suckle marks on it and if she's had the little, like, suckled them this morning already, or if she's still kind of, you know, on her way to them. Maybe let's just stop here and see nicely. Beaks will have to try and focus in on the tummy to see. Difficult to see from here. Looks like the fur's matted, doesn't it? I wonder if she didn't suckle them this morning already and then is now coming towards, just doing a little territorial thing. If that's the case, then the cubs are somewhere close by here. They're not far if her stomach has still got matted fur on it. You know, she was grooming herself just now, so that would have cleaned that up a little bit. All right. Heading back towards the road, though. I think she might even be on the road again. No, changing direction again. Rosemary, you say you love her name. What's the meaning? So Shadulu is a termite mound. That's what it means. And it's based off the fact that when she was a younger cat, before she kind of became very well known, is that she used to love termite mounds and trees and all kinds of things, but particularly termite mounds, and was seen often on a termite mound. And that's why she was given the name Shadulu. It is a nice name. I like it as well. Shame, girl, have you got a bit of a gash on that neck? Oof, it's a nasty one she's got on her neck. Ow. Shame, girl. No wonder you were gingerly. She's definitely suckled this morning. That fur is wet still. Those cubs can't be far. I know there's another den site that Shadow used to use just inside Arethusa, not far from where she's come in. Oh, shame, girl. The fly's driving you mad. There's also elephants that have been going crazy the entire time I've been with her. I think that's why she keeps stopping and listening. Let's try and catch up. Are you going to lie in the shade? Okay, fair enough. Hillary, she is very, very pretty. She's one of the prettier cats that we get in this area. But the nice thing is that she's gone stationary for us, and hopefully she'll kick out her legs in our direction. We'll be able to see nicely those suckle marks and see how wet that fur still is. It looked as though it was still very damp around there. Shame, my girl. You've got lots of little bites and cuts on your neck. And you can see how swollen that back of the neck is. Obviously a little bit of Oh, there we go. Okay, don't scratch it. Just leave it go. I know it's sore. It'll heal though nicely. Don't worry, everybody. It's one of those things that... But you see how she's trying to clean it? Because she can't reach it with her own tongue. So she's licking her paw and then she gently just rubs her saliva through that just to try and clean that wound out as much as possible. Oh. The other ones are healing quite nicely already. But like I say, this is, they tell me, is from Markham Sava. They say that they've been fighting, the two of them, and Markham Sava looks exactly the same apparently. Got little cuts and wounds all over the place. Now that might mean that we'll see Tswalu starting to push back a little bit towards our area. Maybe that's why we're starting to see her as much as we have been the last week or two. I mean, I know we've only had like 2 proper sightings, but the tracks have been here a lot more. But these 2 girls got hold of each other properly. You see how many cuts she's got under her chin, around her neck. They must have had a serious go at one another. Now we know that Tswalu's not shy of a fight either. She actually took on Thandi once and gave Thandi an absolute hiding. Also gave Thandi a nice big gash. So it's been in her kind of way for a while. Oh, shame, girl. It looks like she's kind of just trying to clean it as best she can. You can see how licking the fur, you see how the fur is getting wet around it? And she's just putting her kind of mark on it and just trying to clean it out nicely. It will heal though. That's a superficial wound. It's just going to be uncomfortable for a while because the flies are going to irritate her and it's in an awkward spot to groom. But she'll be fine. It's not going to cause too much of an issue. Be surprised how resilient they are and how quickly wounds like this close up. As long as she's good about her maintenance of it like she is now, it should be okay. I think she's going to be better off if she lies on the ground and just pushes that down and stops the flies from getting in there. Seems like there was a little bit of an infection as well. I can see a little bit of pus in there. Hopefully that will clean out. She's being quite meticulous about her grooming process, so eventually that should come on. Maybe it was filled a little bit and it just kind of popped recently and drained nicely. If that's the case, it'll be good. Good girl. Oh, shame. She's such a pretty cat. All right, well, we'll sit with her for the remainder of the morning. Such a treat to get Tswalu, and I know it's not going to be a full drive with her, but at least we'll get a nice, decent sighting. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Steve.
Tswalu, my favorite female leopard. How special indeed it is to see the Duchess of the West. What exciting news, Tristan. Thank you for sharing. So everybody, this morning we had buffalo in this area. We're slowly making our way back to our vehicle. And so we're just coming through and explaining why maybe they were up here. We're quite high up on the ridge here, but this is all dolerite rock. There's a big quarry that the Air Force used many, many years ago to harvest dolerite and crush it down. It makes very nice gravel. And also when it weathers down, it makes very nutrient-rich soil, which is evident by the amount of grass that we can see around me in this big area, all around the top. That's where the buffaloes were obviously feeding last night. They would have come up the hill. There's so much grass around here that obviously it is why they're up here. We often find them in dense vegetated areas, along riverine areas, but when you've got geology that creates perfect soil, this is studded with knob thorns. Knob thorns, we know, like very clay-rich, nutrient-rich soil, and lots of grass. So it makes sense why the buffaloes were hanging out in here. Many of the low-lying areas around here are like red earth we saw, but overgrazed potentially. There's lots of nutrients downstream as well. We often get nice longer grass habitats, but quite unique to find these rocky outcrops as well with a similar sort of nutrients and the ability to grow lots and lots of vegetation. So you never know where you might find animals, but if you understand the geology and the vegetation and habitat that's then created by those soil types, you can go looking for the animals you're looking for. And we're going to carry on heading in that direction. We're going to send you back over to Marcus, who's on the move.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala, everyone. So in front of us here we've got our one Ngala. Of course, for the viewers that did not know, Ngala actually means lion in the local language, which is Shangan.
She's just killed a scrub hare, which we were following her, and just out of nowhere, she just burst out and grabbed a scrub hare. So she, much like her daughter the other night, it's exactly the same. Those of you that are sensitive, the scrub hare is probably still alive. I mean, she's got it by a part where she'll probably break the neck quite quickly, but it is obviously not for those of you that are sensitive. But a nice little meal out of nowhere. For Shidulu is so opportunistic, these cats. She literally walked and she was going to go scent mark the bush, and as she was turning to scent mark, the scrub hare burst in front of her and she just like rolled around with it and managed to grab it. Beaks, I'll go round so we can get her from the front side. Shidulu, you clever girl. Well done. Oh, you're going to turn for us. Even better, thank you. Let's see if she's like her daughter and she leaves it or she just eats it straight away. I suspect she's just going to eat it straight away. There we go. We're going to pluck it and start feeding immediately. Crazy. Sure, we've been spoiled with some really epic interactions with these animals lately. And when I say interactions, I'm talking like interspecies interactions, like kills like this. You know, Marips with the monitor lizard, Kara with a scrub hare the other night, Shidulu with a scrub hare today, and just look how much fluff she's already plucked out. Clever girl, well done. See how she looks around as well, just to make sure that no one heard it and is rushing in to steal it. Unfortunately for her, I suppose there's a tree right here if a hyena did arrive. But the nice thing is I haven't seen any hyena tracks at all in this section following her tracks. When I was tracking her, there was no hyena track at all. Yeah, can move, don't worry, please. She's busy crunching the head. All I can hear is crunch, crunch, crunch. I'm just going to try and reposition BK so that we can see a little bit better. Sort of better, Beaks. Shame little scrub here. I'm sorry. So she's already just starting with the head. She'll just eat the whole head. You know, a meal like this for a leopard is a quick meal. Unlike Kara the other night, who just flopped down and didn't eat because she had already fed. Shidulu, I think, is probably quite hungry. And so she'll just chomp this down very, very quickly until there's absolutely nothing left of it. She won't be here this afternoon. She'll have moved by the time we get here this afternoon. We know Shidulu and how much she moves. One thing though is today the sun is seriously hot. It's much, 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 much warmer than it's been for a number of days. I can feel it kind of burning my leg almost through my pants. You know, when the sun is strong, it's like that. So hopefully after this, it will just kind of push her just to lie down. What might happen though is after a good feed like this, she'll wander back to the cubs and just go and spend the time with them and suckle them. I say cubs, so it could be cub or cubs. No one has seen these. I've checked with all the guides. No one has any idea where exactly the den is, and no one has seen the number of cubs. From what I've been told, and I've spoken to the Arathusa guides, I've spoken to the Simamili guides, and that was all yesterday afternoon. So unless something changed this morning, I don't think anyone has an exact idea of how many little ones there are. I'm hoping there'll be 2 as well. It'd be nice if Tiani's got 2, she's got 2. It'll certainly make for a nice addition to the western sector of leopards. Markham Sava should also be, kind of moving in, and I wonder if we'll start to see that leopard arriving in our area. It'd be interesting to see if one day it follows Shidulu into our section. But I think this is going to mean that Shidulu and Tlalamba are going to box eventually, given where we are. It seems like Shidulu is starting to come back in a lot more. Look at how she's plucking all the fur. Not nice, Hegel. So the reason she's doing that is just so that she doesn't have to eat all of that. It's much better for her to get rid of all of this fur than to have to worry about actually sitting and trying to digest it, which she won't really, and it taking space in her stomach for when she could rather fill it with meat. So that's why she kind of plucks it and pulls all the fur off and tries to just shear out that skin. So when she eats, she's getting mostly nutrition and not just kind of wasted space with fur. It always amazes me how effective their teeth are at doing this. So 50 indeed. I think, most of our leopards are. They pretty much all show versatility and skill throughout their lives. You look at Tlalamba and Tandi and Kara and her, they all do it well. So I'll answer this when I'm done. It's one of those things where once they have the knack down, then they do become pretty impressive about the way that they do things. I still find Tlalamba to be the most crazy cat. She just seems to just be eating all the time. Shidulu is pretty good as well, but we just don't see her as much, so we just don't get as good an idea of how many times she eats, because we're only on a fringe of her territory. We don't get long periods with her. But she certainly does do well when it comes to, impalas and things like that, from what the guys tell me on that side. Anyway, we'll stay with her for the remainder of the morning and watch her eat her scrub hare, and hopefully she'll kind of settle down after that and give us a chance to find her this afternoon. I'll just sit here quietly and let you guys listen to her as she plucks and starts to feed. Looks ridiculous with that fur all over her chin. Alright, now she looks like she's starting to feed nicely and kind of break through. Almost looks like she's chomped the head already. So we'll just keep kind of staying here with her as she eats this carcass and devours it, and then we'll see where she ends up for the morning, which hopefully, like I say, she'll settle at some point and we can find her again this afternoon.
Look who we found in the Jackalberry, right next to Gowrie Dam. Same tree as last time, different branch. This makes my heart so happy since we're not having much luck with the wigs right now. We don't get any signal there, which is just devastating. So we don't tend to spend too much time. I think the wigs will... No! Okay. I see. Let's see if we can work it from the other angle. I think the wigs are still there. I'm gonna move up.
Yep.
But we're just not able to spend too much time there, so this is making my heart very happy. And talking of happy hearts, well done, Tristy, for picking up on Shadulu. There's been lots of rumors about her with cubs, but we haven't really seen her. And now that Tristy's confirmed suckle marks, I am very, very much hoping for cubs. Half official, okay. Half's better than nothing. Djuma seems a bit deserted of leopard cubs. Kachava's has, and Selly's been seen with suckle marks. Tiani has, but it's not entirely accessible. Sabui, well, sadly there's been no update on that little one since the first sort of sighting of that cub. I don't know. We didn't get a good enough view of Sabui yesterday to see suckle marks. Oh no, it was sitting so perfectly as well for ages. No luck. I'm struggling. Oh, yes, I see it from here, Dove. You got it?
Yeah.
Yes, here we go. That took a while. It's really hard when you're looking up, especially through a camera, but the Jackalberry's it's still very lush, still very thick with all its leaves. Hello, we see you. And you're gorgeous. This is a Verreaux's eagle owl. I don't think I said that, everyone. Sorry. I'm just expecting you all to know. It's not a spotted eagle owl like the wigs. It's bigger and flashier in terms of color. The brightest pink in the bush. The eyeshadow is just something else. Quite a fierce look, but this owl will be here all day, most likely. I wonder if this tree is its sort of little territory. I love owls. I think they are literally just the best. Okay, we're going to sit around at Gowrie Dam, see if we can find anything happening around here, and we might get better visuals of the sky. We have another wonderful guest with us, Sergio Real. Sergio is a holder of the Ticket to Dream.
I bought a Ticket to Dream because I love WildEarth. All of the guides have been awesome. We've been watching for years, and it's a favorite part of my day to get to watch the drives. I look forward to seeing lots of leopards.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My favorite part of the drive today was definitely an elephant that paid us a visit and came right to our car.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
It's amazing being on a live drive in Djuma. It's just fantastic. The scenery is beautiful and the animals are even better.
The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, there we go. We are still sitting with her. She's still eating slowly. Or actually not slowly. She's devoured about half a scrub here already. I don't think there's going to be much left anytime soon. But I'm glad she got a meal. You know, when you're raising cubs, it's hard for a mom. She's being basically eaten alive by her little ones. When they are suckling from her, they're absorbing a lot of her nutrient base, and it makes life, tough. They've got to hunt, they've got to kind of leave the cubs. They're moving far more than they normally do because she can't just, sit and rest like she normally would today. She'll just lie down and kind of take a sleep. Now she's got to get up, she'll have to go back to them, suckle them, groom them. She's expending huge amounts of energy, so a meal is always a welcome reward for a little leopardess that has cubs. And she's not so little as well. Shadudu's a big girl. I'd love to see her and Kalamba kind of side by side, not in an aggressive manner and fighting, just from an interest point of view of size difference. Because Kalamba is a big girl, but not tall like Shadudu. Shadudu's got a lot more height on her, but Kalamba's just bulky and big and all the good stuff. I really enjoy Kalamba. She makes me laugh. I'll keep quiet a little bit for those of you that want to hear the sounds of it. I know it's macabre, but you can hear her kind of crunching through the carcass. You can smell that there's something in the grass. I saw a little organ fall out of the stomach, or out of the cavity just now. Looked like maybe like a little liver or kidney or something. And those are things she does not want to waste. She'll want to eat those because they are full of nutrients. Somewhere there, where her nose is. There we go. Picking up whatever it was. But as I said, there's not much left. It's literally just half a bunny now. And in South Africa, for those of you who are South Africans, that would seem very odd, because in South Africa we have a food called a bunny chow. And bunny chows are basically a curry in a bread. And then you get a thing called a half a bunny. And so when I say that, I don't know why I think of the food rather than this poor little scrub here. We actually made bunny chows the last time I was here with Tswalu. It's a very Durban thing to make, but they are quite delicious. It's amazing how quickly they get through these kills when they're hungry. I believe you guys would have heard the crunching of that spine being broken. Susan, pretty much everything other than the fluff. You can see she's just taking monstrous chunks off of it, basically. And you saw the size of it when she first caught it. And scrub hares are not tiny little animals. They're small, but they're not tiny. And she's already kind of eaten most of it. So she eats skin, bone, bits of flesh, pretty much everything she can get in. She will, besides that excessive amount of fur that she's already pulled off. So the sound you're hearing now, the crunch is the bone, and then that like kind of rougher sound that's not as crunchy, that's the skin when she's eating. So she'll take that down too. Oh, it's a good meal though. It's going to be a happy mom now, which is a good thing. But and for 2 minutes of her day, she forgot about the flies landing on her wound on her neck. You can see every now and then she kind of flicks and moves and tries to bite at them. But for the most part, she's kind of forgetting about that while she rams some nutrition down her throat at a rate of knots. So it's going to be finished in the next minute or two. There'll be nothing left of it. Hoping she just goes flat somewhere here and she doesn't move too much. It'll be nice to spend some time with her this afternoon again. But I have a strong feeling that she's going to be a long way away from where we are. Anyway, it's that time for us to say goodbye to all of you. I hope that you had a wonderful morning with us and enjoyed the sights and sounds of the African bush. It seems as though there was a little something for everybody out there this morning, from big cats to birds and everything in between. So yeah, we'll see you all this afternoon on our sunset safari. From all of us, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope that you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you may be.